a new setting. And yeah, so we're reviewing today a movie that we saw that our friend Martin Scorsese directed.
Oh, good for it.
Yeah, he's a personal friend of all of ours. We've known him for a long time.
He funds this whole channel.
Yes. Thanks, Marty.
Imagine.
He's like a grandfather to all of us.
Maybe you guys.
Yeah, so we're doing Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah. Someone's excited. So yeah, you know what? Let's let Grim start it off.
Oh, good lord. Well, okay. So since the last time that we talked, I said that we need some time to process what I saw essentially. And the thing that I really did come up with is the fact that this was a long fucking movie. Like it really was. No.
Like, directed by Martin Scorsese.
No. What I'm saying.
Uncle Marty.
No, because I've heard a lot of people say, well, his movies are typically long. I'll admit a couple of them are, but they really start getting long around like The Irishman. The Irishman and this one, I noticed were like, while they're still good, I had to pull out my phone and check what time it was. Like, all right, like it's kind of good, but like, what time is it?
Well, normally his movies are 2.5 hours long. Usually, yeah. And then because of The Irishman, it went over 3 hours.
Wasn't The Departed and Wolf of Wall Street pretty long movies too?
Yes.
Like Wolf of Wall Street did well. That's also what I'm leaning to,
right?
Because a lot, like while they were long, they didn't feel long.
Okay.
This one,
that's his
you felt like it was long. This one, I had like, how long have we been here for? My God! But having said all that, though, I felt like you could have I saw what you guys said.
Right.
Obviously, at different times. I'm gonna agree with Pancakes in the sense that like you could have cut down a good amount of the movie and still got the overall story out. I did, and the overall performances I felt were amazing. These are definitely top contenders for Best Actor, Best Actress, and
supporting actor.
Best Supporting. Thank you so much. Best Supporting Actor. I feel like, and obviously Best Movie of the Year. Definitely top contender, and I still do agree with what you guys essentially said. And I'm like, you know what? They're right. They're all smart. I'm going to agree. So,
if I can add two more to that list, Best Director and Best Adapted Screenplay. If we're just talking Oscars.
He's right, because this was based on a book.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I mean, when it comes to directors winning Oscars this year, I mean, we're smack in the middle of the Scorsese, Ridley, Nolan three-way battle going on right now.
Yeah.
This is like we had Oppenheimer, that was a juggernaut. This was definitely a juggernaut of a movie. We have Napoleon, directed by Ridley Scott, coming up next month,
which we haven't seen yet, but there's still so much hype around.
It's Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
There is, and two of which are funded or studioed by Apple. So that was another thing too. I think that was a really just seeing like Apple Studios in a theater. I was like, this is the age we're living in right now.
Yes, it is. But here's the thing though, because let's assume right now Napoleon is going to be great. You have two movies that came out from the same studio for Apple. Apple kind of has the movie world.
They're making money no matter what.
They have the movie world by the balls right now.
So back to the review of the movie and not Oscar contender.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
Look.
Yeah.
It's a long.
Yes.
Yes.
It's really long.
Yes.
We established that.
Did I enjoy the movie? For the most part, yeah. Up until my ass was killing me from sitting down. But the whole time, me and Graham were just like, oh man, how many more positions can I sit?
For real. Like no legs were starting to fall asleep.
Yeah. Other than that, I agree with you guys. But do you really think it's better than Oppenheimer?
No.
Well,
I think it's on par at the very least.
Both of these movies are long. The thing is, both these movies are long with a lot of moving parts and multiple acts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, which one did their own story better? And I mean, I feel like this story, as long as it was, I felt like no scene was really wasted. Did I move and shift a couple times in my seat too? Yeah. But I didn't feel like I was like, when the hell is this? The credits rolling. Like we're gonna like I need to go. I need
Well,
to.
I don't think any one of us felt.
I got shit to do. You know?
Right. I don't think any one of us felt that way.
No.
But it was just sitting for so long.
Actually, I was starting to look like, what's this movie gonna wrap up? Come on.
Um,
I did. That's fine. That's fine.
what you said with like every scene was work did in that movie. That's what I felt about Oppenheimer. They could have cut so. Going back to the length. They could have cut so much out.
Really? Like so much?
Not so much. A half hour to 45 minutes. Like
That's a lot.
the rating, like the end.
It's a lot of scenes.
The ending, the ending to explain what happens to the real life people. When Marty making his cameo, they could have done without that. I know your boy Jeff White.
But how would you end the movie then?
You know what though? I'm gonna fight you on that. I thought that was very well done.
Yeah,
I thought it
it
was
was
weird
great.
and out there that
It was.
they made it a radio show,
Right.
At the
But
same time,
that's what they
you
did.
have to remember. Yes, I was just about to say that's what they did back then. There was no such thing as it. You had theaters and you had radio shows,
Right.
which is exactly what we saw with people coming up to a microphone, doing sound effects to make things happen, and you told a story, which I thought wrapped up very nice.
And also, you have to think, instead of him doing a rolling credit at the end, telling you in text what's happening, what's going to happen afterwards, they did it differently, like the way he said it. They presented it in a radio setting, so that way it's like, oh, this is totally different. It wasn't like your typical movie where at the end you're like, oh, let me read the screen and see what they say. Okay. No, this was like they kind of acted it out on the radio. So you felt like you were sitting in your living room at home listening to the radio and saying,
Or the wireless, as they called it back.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why they were doing like all the different sound effects as they were reading the script and everything.
I just thought it was like a weird transition. And spoiler alert, at the ending when Leo's character finally admits that he was poisoning his wife, and she just walks out. It was just a weird transition from that scene
But
to the performance.
Now, hang on a second, so I'm going to cut you off. He never admitted that he poisoned her. He just lied straight through his teeth, where it was so obvious that it's like, yeah, you did. I'm out.
Well, I felt like at that scene it was like, okay, like he knows he's fucked. Like he
Yeah.
knows like that was the
And at this
final.
point-
Because at that point he thought he was getting away with his testimony.
Yeah.
And she cornered him with the question of like, what did you put in my medicine?
Mhm.
And once he lied to her face, she probably knew because she was at the doctor. She went to the doctor to recover from all of that. So they probably saw what was actually in her system and gave her a report and said, hey, take this. This is what this guy just did to you for like a month or so. And she probably took that to the trial, and that's what fucked him over. But in the end, I mean,
I don't
like
know.
a spoiler, but like neither him nor Robert De Niro's character got that much of a sentence compared to what they should have got.
I know where you're trying to go with that.
You still went to life in prison.
Yeah.
Going back to Marty himself for a moment and length of the movie aside, this type of movie is a specialty to take a book or things that happen in real life and put it on the big screen like he does. Like you had Irishman, you had Wolf of Wall Street to bring back to his most famous movie, Goodfellas, book inspire. I think Raging Bull was inspired by real events to take it back. So this was very much in Marty's wheelhouse, and that part of it was well done. He was a co-writer on it, so he really shined in that aspect. It was a cool visual to see De Niro and DiCaprio on screen together. I believe they made one movie together, but this is the first time I think this is the first time they came together for a Martin Scorsese film because they are his two most famous acting collaborators.
This is a big deal.
You're absolutely right. Okay, you're right in the sense Scorsese, I think, is the king of adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
He really is, because you really do think like a lot of like his biggest movies.
Yeah.
There was a book, there was some kind of story, something
Real life
came out
events.
before it, a real life event, and he just knows how to take it and put it onto film. And I'm not saying that it's an easy job because the story's already told. It's like no, because now you actually have to make it like worth watching.
And to add one more to that list, which I found was also from a book inspired by real events, an underrated Scorsese film, Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh my
That was a great movie.
Hang on. No. Hang on. I'm going to stop you right there. That is not underrated. That is a phenomenal.
It is.
How dare you?
But back,
Whoever says it's underrated, I want to meet them in the West. How is it dare?
That is probably one of the best Daniel Day-Lewis
Oh my
performances
god!
ever.
to put a bow on that, I guess underrated, but when you think of his films, that's not one of the first films people
That
met.
is the first film I think of with him.
I do.
Well, with you guys, but back to this
Do I
movie.
have to fight you in the 90s parking lot?
Oh, break it up.
We're professionals. That's why we think of that.
Can I get my order in it?
No!
For me,
Doors that way.
even though with the two Hollywood heavyweights of De Niro and DiCaprio, the scene stealer for me, like I mentioned in the short, was Lily Gladstone.
And we're friends again, just like that.
100%.
She should win Best Actress. She was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, her subtlety with every situation was a masterclass. So watch her behold.
Her and Leo actually learned the language of the Osage people. Yeah, and
She it seemed like she knew it all her life.
she's Native American herself, coming
Yeah.
from a tribe in Montana, I believe. But her and Leo did what they had to do to get into character for the roles to really understand the language. And Scorsese himself, trying to make it authentic as he can, went to Oklahoma, filmed on site, hired the Osage tribe in front and behind the camera on the crew and
nice.
yeah. So he
Sorry, you were deep for a little bit. They showed a little preview about that, like before.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
that's why like I said, went on the movie side. That's why it felt so real and authentic as it did.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing about this movie is that, like again, as long as it is, you learned a lot about a certain part of American culture in this movie. That's what really drove you throughout the entirety of that story. You know, like before this, did we know even that like the Osage tribe even was a thing? Did we know about like all this stuff that happened in these states, like that they found oil and that they were having
We
land
knew
taken away
the
from them?
grand scheme of everything. Like, we knew like the overarching thing. Like, any grade school or like high school
Right.
will
Yeah.
learn
The
this.
colonization in general, that's what happened. But
Details of like watching this. Let me tell you something. I felt terrible watching this movie.
yeah, I mean, because you notice they go into the nitty gritty of the business behind it, right? Like how like Robert De Niro's character, like he's this literally sheep and it's wolf basically that's in sheep's clothing, and he's a friend to the Osage tribe, and like the town sees him as this nice
family.
figure. Yeah, like he cares and loves them all and everything. He always tells them and yet he's making all these deals, like in the shadows, just to plan to take things away, make the Osage tribe women sick, wait for them to die, take their money, and it was like a one by one thing. Like, how do I get this money from point A to point B to B?
Well, he was a businessman.
He was evil. He was an evil businessman.
I didn't say he was a good guy. I'm just saying, like, he is your typical villain who's like, I want everything for myself. Let me play chess while everybody else is playing checkers, so that way I can get all the money from everyone.
You know what those things? Like, there's one thing that I did kind of see from this that like you don't see from a lot of antagonists now. Like, this guy, I felt was like, yes, he was a businessman. I understand that, but at the end of the day, it's not that like he was a villain. Like, this dude, I'm watching this. This guy's evil. Like,
And he does it all with a straight face.
Yeah.
Evil. I love you guys. In the meantime, he's stabbing him straight in the back.
God! To Robert De Niro's credit, phenomenal acting.
Yeah.
Yes.
He didn't phone it in this time.
The thing is, not only was he killing people of the Osage tribe for his own benefit, he would kill his own. Like, he would have his own people killed, right? Saving his own ass,
or taking their money.
Yeah.
Because you know for a fact that if he had gone away with all this, he would have a way. He would find a way to kill Leo's character, so he can take over everything. So now it's his, and I'm just trying to help the tribe. So I'm going to keep everything for myself, so that way you guys don't have to worry about it.
And that's what the feds saw through at the end. His self-righteous act was just, they slowly picked apart his cover one by one, and his nephew by proxy. They tried in certain scenes they tried to portray him as a conflicted character, but he knew exactly what he was doing. He was holding up and robbing people. He attacked that private investigator. That one scene caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
When the camera panned out, the reveal that was him with his friend, and hiring his poor Blackie taking the fall for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think like that scene though, when it was revealed that he killed the private investigator, like that's when a whole another layer was added to the movie, and it's like, oh, this is gonna be one
I
of
didn't see
those.
that coming. I thought he was gonna be like that dumb nephew that was controlled the whole time, and then when you see him doing that, you're like, oh.
No, like he's got a bit. It's not a big brain, but he's got a brain in between.
Yeah.
So I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, just like everybody else in the movie, like I think he could win an Oscar himself in this movie too.
Two things that I felt kind of got slept on a little bit in this movie. Not slept on, but something that I'm like, oh wow, they had this. Like holy, and I didn't even know until we actually looked at the book later when the bureau introduced themselves. De Niro, and it's like, oh, well, what group are you guys? The Pinkertons or something like that? I'm like, wow. They didn't even treat the Pinkertons that well then either. And then they said the Bureau of Investigation. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
they don't get shit done. Y'all screwed.
Right, because after the movie, we found out that the title of the book is also 45 letters, 45 words long.
Yeah.
Because it's Killers of the Flower Moon and the beginning of the
death of the Osage tribe and
Right.
the birth of the
FBI. Yeah.
FBI.
So it's it's a long title.
Also,
I don't know how they fit that on one page.
listen. I'm sure they find a way, small print. But something else that I felt was like some people were actually saying they're like, I don't know, yeah, Brendan Fraser's part here was like, I didn't like it. I immediately slapped them.
You know what? You called him extended cameo. Him and John Lithgow's.
I was gonna say, like, you can't say,
excuse me, John
you
Lithgow.
can't say that his part or John Lithgow's was like because like they showed up and like I feel like a
The last
flurry
hour of the movie.
yeah, flurry of like
didn't think it
actor
was the last
reveals.
hour.
It's like, oh, you thought you knew the cast? Like, here's John Lithgow. Oh, here's like
I told Spade, I'm like, wait, isn't Brendan Fraser supposed to be in this
Brendan
movie?
Fraser,
And he's
yeah.
like, and I forgot. Oh, dude, yeah.
I totally forgot he showed up in the trailer too for a hot second. And then he showed up.
Oh, he's right for a second.
Yeah, but the small part that he had, he made most of his screen time because Brendan Fraser was amazing.
Yeah.
And
All he did was yell.
Listen,
He was a lawyer.
He was very
That's all he did. He
He
yelled.
was
trial
a
lawyer.
lawyer in the 20s, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
But if you counted everything that he was in, maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes tops of screen time.
Yeah, but you know what? His scene
It was pivotal. It was important.
Yes.
but his scene when he had DiCaprio and like with the rest of the men like in that room trying to like low key intimidate and intimidate him into saying like, hey, if you do this testimony, like your life will be ruined forever. Wink, wink. Like he knew how to like make it dark like when he needed to. You know, he wasn't just like a bombastic, loud loudmouth in the courtroom.
We weren't watching The Mummy.
Yeah, no, he definitely wasn't the funny character for sure. But he was really good.
Yeah. The actor Jesse Plemons, who played the head investigator.
Yes.
He was very good.
He was great.
Also, it was Matt Damon for a hot second.
No. Spade thought it was Foggy Nelson.
I did.
He was actually in the movie.
He was in the movie.
He had no lines.
He was great.
Twice.
I had a freaking an Ewan McGregor moment. I'm like, what? That's fucking Obi-Wan. I'm like, that's fucking Foggy Nelson.
If Oppenheimer had Josh Peck, this movie had Foggy Nelson. He neither said any lines.
They may have not said anything, but on the cutting room floor, there's definitely some sort of things that they said that was cut out because the movie was already long as it was.
But we know how much of a good emotional actor, being fans of him from when he was on Daredevil as Foggy. So that just seemed like a wasted, and he was just filling screen time. But hopefully we'll see those deleted scenes and how important they could have been to the movie.
Release the Foggy cut.
No, stop! No!
The answer to this is buy the physical media so you can get the extras to watch all these other stuff.
There you go. There you go. Done. That's it.
Physical media is dying.
Yeah.
There are iTunes extras.
So anyway, guys, what do we think of the score? How do we feel about that? It felt very, you know.
I love the theme, like when they first find the oil. It's just like that, like Western, but with a Native American touch type of thing.
Twist,
Yeah.
Very dark, especially when they were showing the bodies of the Native Americans one by one, because they were victims of this. You know, hell, he was not pulling the trigger or putting the poison, but he was a legit serial killers.
Mm-hmm.
So the score definitely felt dark and ominous at the right points.
You could say he was the kingpin.
Yes.
Honestly, with in terms of the score, I didn't hate it, but I wasn't wow.
Right.
It's fine. I was
Yeah,
like, all right, so there's music in here to make it not boring.
Right.
Cool. Great.
Oh.
Moving on.
Oh, what did you think of De Niro and DiCaprio with sudden acts? I know he had one in Django, but
They were great.
I thought he sounded really authentic. I wasn't expecting to enjoy him with that accent.
All right. So here's the thing about Leo, right?
Yeah.
He has been in countless of movies.
The Man is a Chameleon. Go on.
Yes, and he's also changed his accent so many damn times where I don't think I've seen 2 movies with him playing the same accent twice. It's almost in every single movie he sounds different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he does it. Like you said, he's a chameleon,
Chameleon.
and he just falls into the role, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
How he only has 1 Oscar is my
it's a crime, but I can make an entire video about that. So we need to move
he
on.
should have won for Romeo and Juliet.
I think that's the only one he shouldn't have gotten one.
I'm kidding with that one.
Oh, you are. I'll get you back to what you're talking about. No, but like, get back to the score for a second. Like I said, it was. I just felt it was there. It was nothing like wow, amazing
Simple
about it. It was.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
that
bad.
song that I mentioned was really the only standout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I feel like I don't want to say like the effects because there weren't like many effects.
But that's
But
good.
But the cinematography was
The
cinematography.
the cinematography and like the way how all the scenes were shot were amazing.
I mean, the vista shots of like the long pannings of like
Yes.
the oil drills
Yeah.
across the
Yes.
land and like
As
the
I
steam
like to
train
call.
coming in, like those shots.
As I like to call it, the large sweeping shots of New Zealand.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, baby.
But beautiful shots of the landscape in Oklahoma, and when you're talking about the moon and the sun, and then the people dancing when they struck oil, that was beautiful shot, like you guys were talking about. But when they focused on the sun and the moon to have the symbolic reputation, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about. Yes.
representation, everyone.
Yeah.
To recognize what was going on and to attach the symbols to the events of the movies. That was that touched the nerve with me. That was so cool.
Yeah. You know what was like really I found really like interesting about this movie, how it depicted how like the white settlers coming into native land and everything. It wasn't like usually when you see these types of plot points, there's the oppressor and the oppressed, and the oppressor's usually like in a place where they're like impoverished and they're living terribly and all this stuff.
Very Tango for a second.
The people of the Osage tribe in this town, they were living well. They were big pretty much. Once they found that oil, they made their money off of it. See, but despite that, that's what I love about it. Despite that, still, it was still a matter of the certain type of people want what they want, and they're gonna do what they want to get it. And they don't care how much money they have; they want that money for themselves. They don't, they see the Osage people as they don't deserve it. I deserve it, and I'm gonna get it through any means necessary. And I think that was really like an ingenious part about what makes this movie stand out, compared to other movies that might have similar themes like that.
I'll agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
1000%.
Yeah.
So, closing thoughts. Anything else? Did we hate anything about the movie other than the screen? The runtime.
Which I didn't even hate. Like I said, I thought they used every scene.
You are on an island right now.
Clearly.
But that's okay, because you just took it from me with that. The only thing I thought was the runtime, but other than that, everything was great. The story, the directing, the acting.
A solid movie overall. Time aside, I thought Marty nailed it again with this cast, the writing, everything that came together for what we saw on the screen.
Yep.
Now, when we reviewed Oppenheimer, I said that this was going to be Christopher Nolan's magnum opus.
Yep.
I'm trying to decide if that's the case with this movie and Martin Scorsese. I'll leave it to you guys to give your own opinions on that, but I feel like I need more time to decide.
Yeah, we're gonna have to sleep on it.
Yeah.
Sleep on it.
That's
But if it's not, it's definitely in his top 3. Absolutely in his top 3.
I'll put this in his top 5.
Okay, fair enough. But I thought this really had a big impact, in my opinion.
I will agree with you. Top 5.
Top 5, right?
Top 5. Top 5.
Mhm.
Top 5. In no particular order.
Top 5, no particular order whatsoever.
But yeah, so that's pretty much it, right, guys?
I think so.
Well, other than that, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how you felt with this long ass movie, and that's it. We're out.
Roll it! And bring back intermissions, please.